Kia ora, I'm with deaf filmmaker Jared Flitcroft and New Zealand Sign Language interpreter Angela Murray. For those who are listening on radio, Angela is going to be Jared's voice and she's going to be my hands. For those who would like to watch online, you can. You can find this interview in full video at rnz.co.nz/upbeat. Kia ora, Jared. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in today.
Kia ora.
Tell me, is it true that you were inspired to take up filmmaking because you saw blood splatter in Peter Jackson's Brain Dead?
Yeah. I love Peter Jackson and I have for a long time. And I saw Brain Dead and I was hooked. I love the special effects that they used, the blood, everything about it I just loved, and it made me want to be a filmmaker.
How many years ago was that?
A long time ago. I think I started watching when I was probably 9 years old. I was really young, and I've always had a crazy imagination, and I've loved artistic things and creating, and I had a real passion for films and as a kind of escapism. Just a way to escape life. Like in high school, when things got crazy, I'd just escape and just make crazy films. And yeah, that was my amazing space.
Well, there's no blood splatter in Tama, but there is a lot of heart.
Yeah. I thought with Tama, well, I was going on holiday up north in Kaikohe. As a young boy, I was in the marae, and of course, on this marae they spoke fluent te reo Māori, and I met someone who was deaf, and I realised this person actually had no communication with anyone at the marae, and that really is kind of where the heart of this movie is about. I've moved away from the blood and gore, and I'm working now with the heart of Tama, and that's how it was created. I thought of this film, this plot story, when I was in high school, and I worked with a hearing guide, Jack, and we had great hearing and deaf collaboration within this project. It was really, we have a fantastic friendship, and we created Tama from that. And we worked as a community of deaf and hearing people and within the whānau. So from blood and guts to the heart. It's been a big change, but it's been an amazing change.
Well, I'm not ready.
Well, get ready. We've got to go see Mum.
It has been for you. It's a beautiful film. Something that struck me was the fact that Tama is isolated. That is representative of a lot of the deaf community, isn't it, in New Zealand?
Yeah. A lot of deaf people within their own communities and families feel isolated due to a communication barrier. And I wanted to make a film where, I can communicate with a deaf person through film. So whether it's just something really simple as teaching the alphabet, Tama feels isolated from his family. He's grieving. They've each got their own journeys within this film, but for the hearing audience, I wanted to make an impact. That communication is important. It's essential.
It's so true. Communication comes in lots of different forms, and for Tama it does. He uses the haka to communicate. So what role does the haka play, and why did you include it in your piece?
The haka represents, it's a symbol of change. So in the film, you'd see Tama change from this weaker person, someone who can't communicate. And as he learns the haka, he becomes a man, and he realises he can do it. He's representing the way he has changed, the way he can stand up to his father and say, look at me, I'm communicating with you. And that's how it happened.
Turn that shit off.
So a really important part of the story was that Jack and I focused on the sound aspect. Focused on the sound, and I focused on the visual. And the way we worked together on that, we created something that could be accessible for hearing. So the sounds of the beat, the mana, came across in the sounds. We had a Māori person giving us advice as well on set. Together we created something, and of course with editing and putting it all together, we created this. And I don't know how it works, but it just worked really well. And for Jack and I as co-directors, we worked together and we sort of put our brains together and created. We created it, and it is what it is.
As someone who's watching this film, the juxtaposition between the sounds and then the silence is quite beautiful. So when we are looking at the point of view from the dad and from the brother, sounds are heightened. You hear the birds, you hear the wood chopping. It's quite beautiful. And then when we get from Tama's perspective, you described it to me as a muffled sound, like you were underwater. What importance is that in the storytelling for you?
So hearing people hear things like bird sounds, trees moving, people in the background noises all the time, and that's a normal part of life. And so we added that in the film because it's normal. Whereas in the deaf world, that's not normal. It's not always silent. There are sounds and things, like I said, like being underwater. And the sounds are different, and they maybe sound a bit weird, but that's the deaf perspective. And it might not be clear or something that hearing people can understand. So I feel like those two contrasts gave the audience a bit of an understanding of, what it might be like to be in the deaf world or in the hearing world. It gave them a kind of an idea of what it might be like to be deaf.
Yes, it gave me a little bit of an insight. It helped me understand a little bit further. As someone who works in broadcasting, it's all about the sound. It's, something that we haven't been able to connect with the deaf community previously, and this interview is a great opportunity for us to do that. And your film is a great opportunity to close that divide between the deaf community and the hearing community.
Yeah, I agree. And for a while, radio has been something that deaf people will just be like, okay, whatever, there's that thing in my car that turns on and makes sound, but it's not something that's part of my life. And being able to be here and having the two languages, English and sign language, at one time, it's great. I have accessibility to both communities. I have access to the hearing world and the deaf community have accesses, and you as a hearing person have access to my life. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is a very beautiful thing. Just like your film, which is being featured at the New Zealand International Film Festival, but it's also being featured at the New Zealand Deaf Film Festival, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, so New Zealand, the New Zealand International Film Festival, for Tama to be in that is amazing. It's happening on the 13th of August at Te Papa, so I hope that we get a really good turnout. It's also been shown in Auckland, and they've had a really good crowd in Auckland. And I feel like, wow, this has just been a hugely touching moment for me to be in the festival. And then we'll also have it shown in Christchurch as well. So that's an opportunity for, a whole lot more deaf and hearing people to come. And then in September, from the 8th to the 10th, we're having our New Zealand a deaf film festival. So Tama will be shown as part of that festival. But not only Tama, there'll be other deaf filmmakers from throughout New Zealand who have made films, or have deaf people who have been in films that are showing their stories and showing that deaf people can make films in a different way. So you'll see a lot of similarities between the films, but deaf films are, like you said, an insight into their world and an opportunity for them to tell their stories. So we'd really encourage hearing people to come along and see those films, and I think they'd be quite interested to see what the New Zealand Deaf Short Film Festival is about. So I hope you can all come along and enjoy it.
Is it in Wellington?
Yes, it's in Wellington at Victoria University. It's on Facebook. Check it out, New Zealand Deaf Short Film Festival. All the information's there. So encourage everyone to come.
What's the deaf filmmaking community like in New Zealand? Is it strong?
It's up and down. Well, for the deaf filmmakers, I'd like to see more of them. I'd love to see more deaf filmmakers and more role models for others, deaf who want to become filmmakers. We want to provide workshops where we can teach about how to make films and how to become a filmmaker or involved in films. So we want to build on that talent. I think at the same time there have been some barriers, like maybe creating a script has been a barrier for a deaf person, or script writing. So in a hearing way, you type up your script and you write it all out. In a deaf way, it may be different. You may vlog, so you may video and sign yourself telling the story and telling the script rather than writing it in, a written language. So then, that's just a different way of looking at it, and that could be really cool for deaf people to know that that's a way you can do it, and that I think you can create really powerful stories from the deaf community. So I think, I hope this film festival will impact deaf to get involved.
Have you had lots of interest so far from the deaf community and also from the hearing community?
Oh, yes. Yeah. We've got interest. We always want more, though. Always want more.
Of course.
There's been a lot of interest and excitement. So we've got this American deaf rapper coming out. He's really well known in the States for his music, and we're really lucky that he's come to New Zealand to perform at our Deaf Film Festival. And people think, what, a deaf musician? How is that even possible? But he signs and he feels the beat with the, feels vibrations through his music. And when you watch Tama, or if you're watching another movie, if the sound's up loud enough, you can feel the vibrations in the theatre. So it's the same sort of thing with deaf music. We feel vibrations. And maybe for a hearing person, they're like, that's way too loud. But we're like, nah, we love it. And it's awesome. We feel the bit.
Well, see, in films, about 60% of it comes down, they believe, the experience comes down to the sound. So I'm glad that you can still interact with the sound like that and that it has some kind of effect on you.
Yeah, for deaf people, sound it's still important. We show sound in a different way. So like a hearing person shows sound like... So when you watch Tama, you hear the sound and it's clear, but for us, when we hear the sound, it's muffled. But it's an interesting, it's weird, but it's an interesting way of us accessing films. It's weird, but it's cool.
What advice would you have for those, both in the deaf community and in the hearing community, to follow in your footsteps as a filmmaker?
What do you mean, follow me?
Well, you are a leader. You are a leader in this environment. This film is beautiful, and I think it's going to reach a lot of people. So what advice do you have for someone who thought that they might not be able to do something like this, but you've proved them wrong?
My advice, just do it. Just do it. When I was young, I did it because I had an idea and I thought, oh, I'm really bad at script writing. I'm really bad. And I'm awful. But that didn't stop me. I think the most important thing is collaboration with hearing people. And I think that's the most important advice I could give to everyone. Just collaborate, work together, hearing and deaf collaboration. I think that's how we can provide something that's authentic. And so deaf people have this amazing skill at being so visual and seeing how something can be created, and hearing people have the sound, and when you merge those together, boom, boom.
Well, this has been a wonderful collaboration because this interview has taken a little bit of work to put together, but I'm so glad that you've been here to talk with us today and to share your story. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Come along to the New Zealand Deaf Short Film Festival, and also you can see Tama in the New Zealand International Film Festival. So if you want to have your heart touched the way that Zoe has, then come and see our film. Much love.
Oh, much love to you. Thank you so much. I'm with filmmaker Jared Flitcroft and interpreter Angela Murray.